Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com. And for everyone watching, if you could share this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here for Tears for the Dying. How you doing today?
Hi, how's it going?
Good, good. It's good to have you.
Nice to be here.
And you want to start off and give us a little history about the band over the years?
Oh, sure, yeah. So the band started as a project, kind of like a bedroom project back in the 1990s in Athens, Georgia. I started writing poetry and lyrics for something around 1997, and this didn't actually materialize into a full project until a couple years after. I've written out a couple of demo songs that I recorded in 2003, and the demos sounded like pretty darn good for me. Like I wasn't expecting, So as for your listeners or so, I'm trans, and my coming out time was back in the 90s. And so there's a lot going on in my life at the time, which is why I started Tears. It was kind of an outlet, creative outlet to get a lot of the anxieties and things I had inside of me, just kind of have an outlet for it. And in my prior bands, I used to sing sometimes, but my voice wasn't quite up to standard. And so when I got in and recorded those first two demos, I was like really happy with how they sounded, and it shared them with some folks, and others also really liked the music, and recorded a full album's worth of demos, released that in around 2004, I think. It was called To the Birds. Basically, I just burned CDRs and sent them. I think I sent out like 150 copies or so all around the world. At least a third of those went to Europe, and got some good reception from that. And from that success, I gathered together my first full live band lineup, and we played some shows around North Georgia. And by around 2006 or so, rents became more expensive at the rehearsal studio we were at back in the 90s, or back in the 2000s, and basically none of us had the extra funds needed to provide to the studio we were renting space from. So we basically put the live band on the back burner. However, I continued to write, and in 2017, after doing some other side projects and other bands in the 20-teens, I kind of had a calling to come back to Tears. And that was when I met my bandmate Debbie B. She and I met each other at a Transgender Day of Remembrance event in Atlanta, Georgia, and discovered we both loved music, and I started working with her and her former grindcore band. I was playing guitar in that, and then she started playing guitar and bass in Tears, and that's kind of how the second iteration of Tears started.
Also, I know you fit into the Deathrock category, and for people watching who aren't familiar with that genre, you want to tell us about that genre of music?
Oh, sure. So Deathrock is like, it sounds pretty scary. It sounds a lot of misconceptions with the word Deathrock. Deathrock is really kind of essentially just a subgenre of post-punk. Deathrock pedantically originated in Southern California in the late 70s, early 80s. You had bands like Castration Squad, Super Heroines, of course 45 Grave and Christian Death. All the Southern California dark punk bands kind of came together, and I believe Roz is one of the Roz Williams was a singer for Christian Death back then, and he kind of dropped the word death rock and I guess in an interview sometime, and it didn't really pick up right away. It was something like, we considered that punk music for a long time, and then the 90s rolled around, and we considered that goth music, and as time goes on, people tend to get more and more specific with genre and subgenre, and death rock is kind of became the word to describe that type of dark punk music that was popularized back then.
Now, being in Georgia, is there a big scene for this type of music?
I wouldn't say there's a big scene in Georgia. Like, if you want a really big scene, you're gonna find yourself in Oakland, California, Southern California. That's where like a lot of bands are situated these days, and with a lot of bands and a lot of population density. Here in Georgia, we have Atlanta and we have Athens, and there are definitely goth and death rock scene here, but it's just nowhere to the size that you'd find in SoCal.
And you have some, well, before the pandemic, you had some clubs out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, yeah, we played clubs in Athens and Atlanta pretty regularly. Basically, there's not really a dedicated like death rock club in either of those two cities. There are some goth clubs in Atlanta, which really aren't even dedicated goth clubs. There's like a night that DJs would hold, and there's been EBM and industrial, and that would be that kind of thing. But there's not really a dedicated goth club in Atlanta right now. But we played several nights, and we would book shows with other, dark bands, whether they be more to the kind of dark wave, synth pop, or more to the punk side. We've definitely shared bills with just straight up punk bands, and it worked out pretty well for us back then. So yeah.
And you just came out with a new record recently, Epitaph, and you want to tell us a little about that?
Absolutely. So Epitaph came around. We started talking with the record distribution label in Europe called Batcave Productions. We began talking through Messenger, and I shared with them, we had just recorded our single Go Die, and I shared it with them privately, and they're like, well, this is really cool, and we'd love to have some music. So one thing led to another, and a lot of our fans in Europe were a little bit like, kind of frustrated with the shipping cost, and like it is very expensive to ship a CD from the US to Europe and vice versa. So we kind of toyed around and came up with this concept of putting together our last two releases, our first, which would have been Charon and Memories, and basically pulling a selection of songs from both those, and then adding in some brand new tracks which were previously unreleased. So Epitaph is a combination of kind of a compilation of our last two releases, as well as we have 5 tracks that were not on those 2 compilations. And
how long were you sitting on those unreleased tracks for?
Not too long. I recorded all of them last year. So yeah, and actually 2 of them were remixes of a couple of songs we had. Well, one of the songs was a unreleased track, and the other one was Go Die. Our producer, Tom Ashton, who is a guitar player in a pretty popular Gothic band from the UK called the March Violets in the 1980s. He's since relocated to Athens, Georgia, and he's been our producer for the last 2, actually now last 3 releases with Charon, Memories, and now Epitaph. So he also has been doing some remixing work for us, and he did 2 remixes on this Epitaph record, and they sound really, really good.
Now, I haven't seen you live, but I've watched a lot of your videos, and there's a lot of energy in your performances. And I was wondering, how have you been dealing with the pandemic, not being able to play live?
Not well. It's been kind of hard, really. The playing live bit is. We found out, we did do some live stream events over the course of the last year, and the live stream events are fun, but we're basically set up in the studio here, and there's no audience, so there's no energy to feed off of. And for me as a musician, as an artist, I really appreciate having those faces to look at, and sometimes even just going to an unfamiliar space can just bring a little kind of creative anxiety and kind of help improve that kind of performance. So definitely live streams are fun, and we were glad to be able to do them, but there's nothing that will replace going to a club. And if there's 15 people there, if there's 100 people there, just having that energy of people in the room with you is so important for me.
Definitely. Now that the album just came out, what do you have currently coming up?
Right now, so we're just starting to record our next release. I don't have a title for that yet, but it's going to be a full-length record, and hopefully we'll have it done in time for release later this year, maybe by November or December. And this will be a release that has all new Tears material. So there have been some tracks on Charon and on Memories that were originally recorded back in the early 2000s, and even Time was back in 1997 I wrote that one. So there's a few older tracks on the last two releases. This forthcoming release will be complete all brand new Tears material that was written like this year.
Awesome. And if people want to find you online, look you up, get your music on social media, how do they do that?
Yeah, we're available. So basically, Googling Tears for the Dying will get you in touch with our Bandcamp, our Facebook, TearsfortheDying.com. You can go there and access all of our socials. We're on Instagram. We have Spotify set up there. So we have Epitaph, Memories, and Care On, all on Spotify as well. We have a YouTube channel, as you may have already found. So yeah, if you just go to TearsfortheDying.com, that's where fans could learn more about us.
Awesome. And I want to ask, when touring is able again, you can get back on the road. What are some bands you'd like to share the stage with?
Oh, definitely, definitely Mystic Priestess from California. We love the players in Mystic Priestess and are looking forward to be able to gig with them hopefully this coming year.
Cool. Yeah, hopefully that can happen. Well, it's good talking with you and having you, and everybody look them up.
Thanks.
And for everyone watching, I've linked their music in the video description, so check that out.